Well, good morning, YouTube. Clay on the trail. It's kind of a weird year for me. Last year I had a video out almost every week. And this year, between my regular job, I do a side job as a roofing. I do metal roofs. And this year, the season's just got all screwed up. We're still trying to put hay up, and it's almost September. Last week of September. My brother-in-law and his brother run the ranch. And our school teachers, they've gone back to school. So I've been filling in and helping them hay. So I haven't been able to get out near as much as I would like to, but I'm not needed till this afternoon. So I am going to go fishing on the Bear River, which is, I'm in my yard, which is right over there where the trees are. So it's going to be a short video. I don't have all day, and I'm not going to walk a whole bunch of miles today. I'm going to go down where the canyon comes together right there and walk back up and see if we can catch any fish. This stretch of the river is privately owned. I do have permission to be here. Doesn't get fished a tremendous amount, a little bit, but not a ton. And there's some pretty nice brown trout down here. So I have a couple of shads. He ties flies. So I've got on here a little cinnamon ant and the big black ant that we've had so much luck with down here. And go take a little walk, see if we can catch something. So for anyone that's new and haven't watched all my videos, I live between the town of Evanston, Wyoming and the Uintas along the Bear River. I'm very fortunate to have the opportunity to live here, of course. My family started homesteading and ranching in this area in the 50s. 1852 is when my great-great-grandfather came across the plains in a covered wagon to Salt Lake, and then a few years later ended up coming back here and homesteading this area. So I'm not some independently wealthy guy that buys property like this. It's been handed down from generation to generation. Oh, how's that for a hawk in the tree there yelling at us? But yeah, that's the facts of this place. That's where I live. I've had these two hawks in my yard for the last, I don't know, probably 2 weeks, yelling at each other. I don't know if they're getting ready to mate or they're mad at each other. I don't understand birds that well. But it's pretty cool anyway. So this is the Bear River right here after it comes out of the Uintas. So this is the West Fork, the East Fork, and the Hayden Fork, and all the other forks of the Bear River merged together late in the fall, so there's just not a ton of water in it. But anywhere there's a pool and a couple of riffles ought to produce some fish. So I just jumped a moose out of here, which is one of the other awesome things about living where I do. I don't know where she went or whether we're going to see her again, but she just came out of here and headed further downstream. I also just lost both my flies, and they are the best flies for fishing this condition today. I'm going to put some other ones on, but my expectations just dropped significantly. Alright, so I got another fly tied on. I don't think it's going to be near as good as the big black ant. Those are killers this time of year. I'm trying Well, I don't even know what it is. Something my dad had from when he was a fisherman years and years ago. Maybe they haven't seen it for a lot of years and they'll eat it. So one thing I wanted to do while I was out here, Jason from Haggard Wilderness tagged me in a 5 things you don't know about me probably 3-4 months ago. And it's been so long I feel silly even talking about it, but I didn't want him to think I didn't watch his video or I didn't care enough to respond. I've just been really crazy busy this year. Had a death in the family. I've had 2 weddings. Working my other job, working my real job, trying to get hay put up. Just one of those years that just don't seem to go away. So as I walk down through here, I'll throw out some things. Number one thing I don't think you guys knew about me is the fact that I roof. I've run my own small business for, oh goodness, 7 to 10 years on my own. Before that, my stepdad is who passed away this year. I worked for him doing it. So I've probably been roofing for over 20 years. So we'll call that number 1. Oh, I'm a pretty open book when it comes to YouTube. So I've told you guys lots of stuff about me. I don't have too much to hide. So thinking of 5 things that you don't know about me has been somewhat tough. But we'll go with number 2. I actually grew up in Southern California. Little town of Newbury Park. I graduated high school there. Small town of about 250,000 people, and for you guys that don't get the joke there, I live in a town with 10,000 people now. All right, we'll jump up to number 3 here. Most of you guys know that I am a deputy sheriff. I work for the Uinta County Sheriff's Office, and I have for 22 years. We're allowed a retirement after 20 years, but we did do a change of retirement programs when I was about 5 years in, and I lost 2.5 years. So I am 1 year from my retirement date, which is pretty exciting. I have no idea what I'm going to do next, but to be able to pull another job and then collect my retirement on top of it, I might actually make a living for once in my life. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. So next July will be my retirement date. All right. Well, I've lost more flies this trip than I have in the Uintas. I'm used to fly fishing lakes, and I am fairly new to fly fishing. All these willows are killing me. I'm on my 4th fly I've had to put on. I quit tying droppers, running 2 flies, because I am going to run out if I keep doing that. I've been putting them on one at a time, because that's all I can afford to lose. All right, so where am I at? Number 4. If you guys watched all my videos, you may know this, but I am a member of the American Mountain Men. Every now and then you will see me dress up in clothes of a fur trapper. I do trap and ride. We used to call it historical reenactment, and I believe they've come up with some other name because they thought it was more fitting, but I can't even remember what it is. Historical archaeology or some stuff like that. But the idea of our club is to copy exactly what they had during the fur trade and go out and use it. See what works and what doesn't work and why they would carry a certain thing. So we do have the Fort Bridger Rendezvous coming up this next week. I did a video on it last year. I may not do one this year. This will be my last year riding. I am a mounted police officer. Be my last year riding at the Rendezvous. From here on out, depending on what my next job is, I will be attending the rendezvous. And we attend that more to share with people what really happened there. A lot of the stuff you see at the local rendezvous are not real accurate. And we try to correct some of that, I guess. But I just have fun. Very primitive, building fires with, flint and steel. Brain tanning leather, doing stuff like that most people don't know how to do anymore. They're very lost arts. So I do enjoy doing that. So I have been a member for many years. I have camped in the Uintas in the wintertime with a wool blanket in my buckskins, just like a mountaineer would have done at the time period. A good way to get frostbite. Done a lot of trapping, a lot of horse packing in a primitive fashion. And it's something I really enjoy to do. Alright, for my fifth item, I've been kind of contemplating what to even talk about, because I don't really know that much about me, I guess. But if you've watched some of my past videos, you have seen that I went to Yellowstone and the Tetons in what's called a rat truck and a rat camper. So I thought I'd share a little story behind that. I grew up in Southern California during a housing boom, right on the Ventura and LA County line is where I lived. And I saw a big dark spot in there. I thought it was going to be a moose. It was just a shadow, which is probably good. So anyway, housing boom in California. Grew doing construction my whole life. Didn't know anything about metal, and I wanted to learn how to weld. So I talked to a friend of mine that is a very good welder. He runs Child's Play custom rods and a bunch of other stuff. But he was a cop friend of mine. Told him I wanted to learn how to weld. So if you've seen my rat truck, or go check out my rat camping videos, I think they're kind of cool. I built that truck. I did not buy it. I've got close to 5,000 miles on it, and so far none of my welds have broken. It was a fun project and something I really enjoy doing. So that's going to wrap up the 5 questions portion of this video. I'm going to concentrate on fishing now. I've been skunked for I don't know if you can see it up there, the roof of our barn's up there. I've walked down that far, maybe a half a mile, not even a nibble. And I'm going to get down in here to where our old homestead house was, the first one that my great-great-grandpa put in. Burnt down twice. Moved it up to where our house is now, and it burnt down, and we built a new one since. Early 1900s is when the last house finally got built that stayed. So let's see if we can get some fish to bite now. Alright, I do want to take a minute and thank Jason from Haggard Wilderness for thinking of me in this. I feel, again, like I said, kind of stupid for waiting 4 or 5 months, whatever it's been, to respond to it. I've just been that busy. Jason's a great guy. Check out his channel, Haggard Wilderness. Was hoping to do some hikes and some stuff with him this year, but my days off have not lined up with his. But I'm sure this winter we'll get out again. And I guess while I'm at it, I've thought long and hard about this. I am not going to tag anybody. This has run its course. Most people have been tagged. Most people that I know have been tagged. And people aren't even looking for this anymore. That's why I kind of thought I'd throw it in the middle of this. So if you feel the need to tell people your 5 things, feel free to say I tagged you. Because I'm not going to put anyone specific. So there's a look of my afternoon. Lots of acres of hay to put up. So as soon as I quit talking and actually started fishing, I've had two very nice, very nice, from what I'm used to catching, browns jump right out of the water, bite my fly, and spit it right back out. So I gotta start paying attention and setting the hook when they bite it. This kind of seems like a good spot. We got riffles coming in, and those trout will feed on those riffles, and then they've got this bigger pool here to get deep in. So the area we live in now used to be a sea. I mean, back in the olden dinosaur days. So we come upon these cliffy areas like this, and we can go up the hills and pull some of the rock out, and there are fossils of shells, like snail shells, and I don't know if they're oyster or mussel shells, which is pretty cool. And then not far from us is Kemmer, Wyoming, where they have Fossil Butte National Park or National Monument or National whatever it is, and they pull fossils of fish out of the sandstone there. So pretty cool area. Okay, so right in a crack like this where this black rock is, and then further down here, it's where all the fossils are. Kind of a cool area, and this is actually bedrock right here. I've looked at this area lots and lots. We're not really in a crazy gold producing area, but if I ever had a suction dredge, I would come right here and hit this stretch right here. Because if there were going to be anything, this would be the place. Okay, finally got into a fish. I just cast into the riffles here, let it drift alongside this tree here. And I know you guys that catch big lakes or fish big lakes and stuff catch big fish, but for our area, these are some big old fish. So how's that for a nice little rainbow on a little dry fly? I'm gonna let him go. And thank you for letting me catch you. It's pretty cool how the river in high water builds these sandbars all over. We don't get a lot of just sand in our area. So I just happened to walk upon this. Many years ago, we did a trapping trip down here with my mountain man friends, and I built this shelter, and we actually did a overnighter in this with a fire, covered with a tarp, of course, but this is the breastwork of it. About 10 degrees all night long. Trapped, caught beaver, hung out. I'm just looking for that next perfect hole. I will be fishing this on the way back up, so all the ones I missed, I will change my flies out and try again. this area here, goodness gracious, this is what I'm walking in. I can't see a thing. If I step in a... Hope that's my dog and not a badger. Well, this area right here is where my great-grandfather built the first house when he homesteaded here. Oh, there we go. Well, I'm glad that was him. That was taller than I am. So this is kind of a look at the area I live in. Okay, I hooked another one. This one isn't going to be very big, but a fish nonetheless. He's probably only 4 or 5 inches long. He, I believe, is a brown. I don't know if you can see the brown spots on him, but we'll get him back in the water. There's some sage grouse. It just made me pee myself just a little bit as I was walking through the grass. They just jump right up in front of you. So I had a great big, well, bigger anyway, brown chasing my fly over here, but my shadow was in the water and he got to my shadow and he turned around and bailed. All right, this is about as far down as I'm going to go. There's not really any great fishing in this little stretch, so I'm going to head back up, do a little fishing in the holes that I did, or saw, had success in anyway, on the way back up. All right, guys, I've hit some of the holes on the way back, and I'm just going to beeline it from here home. Kind of got to the heat of the day and they're not even looking at stuff anymore. So fishing's done. I've run out of stories to tell you today. So appreciate everybody that came along. Please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Feel free to share. And thanks for coming along.